Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs show. Happy Saturday, happy weekend. I hope you're okay. I hope you are all right. I hope you're looking forward to a good weekend. Obviously, Spurs play tomorrow, 4:30 at home to Liverpool. Did my preview yesterday. Go back, have a watch that if you've missed it already. Some good stuff in there. In this video, though, we are going to be talking about Ange and kind of not calling out, but really putting it out there, the change in transfer activity and attitude at the club for January. We'll be talking about Patrick Dorgu interest. We're going to be talking about David Hancko and quotes from David Hancko, as well as clubs interested in him. So plenty to talk about, plenty to get into. I want to say, if you're watching this, you need to subscribe. You very much want to join us for the journey. And yeah, good stuff in this video. I'm really looking forward to this one because I think there's a lot in this that we can sort of jump into and really get our teeth sunken into. So what we'll do is we will obviously start with Ange and his attitudes towards January, really, and potentially onwards. He said, moving forward, probably to err on the side of getting a little bit more experience into the squad just to help the group, because we've got very few at that kind of sweet spot in terms of ages. We want to give the guys in their teens or early 20s the opportunity to keep growing. We need to make sure we put quality around them. So how we allocate the next resources may shift a little bit. Now, obviously, Spurs have an issue where they either go too far one way or too far the other. And what I mean by that is sometimes they go, we're going to put too much money into signing the players for tomorrow, right? Or they put too much money into, we're signing the players of yesterday. Like, you know, your Perisic's, for example. And yes, he was free, but his wages weren't. Go check it out if you weren't sure. They need to find, as I said to you, that sweet spot. Those sort of mid-20s guys as they're just about to hit their prime. When you actually look at the starting 11, and what I mean the starting 11 is think about the main 11. So Vicario's in goal. He's very young for a keeper. He's in his mid-20s, but he's young for a keeper. Pedro Porro, still fairly young, coming into sort of his mid-20s. Obviously, Romero's in that sweet spot. Mickey van der Ven's in his young 20s, and so is Desti Udogie. We look at the midfield. Bissouma is at his late end of 20s. Bentancur, pretty much the same. Pape is still in his young 20s, and obviously Maddison is probably in that sweet spot. When you look at the front three, Kulusevski's still quite young, but he's coming into the sweet spot. Solanke's in that sweet spot, and Sonny's past that sweet spot. So when you kind of break that down, and I'm not going to talk about, you know, the rotational other pieces that we have, but when you break it down, there isn't really a lot of players who are in their prime right this second for Spurs. So that's why I'm just saying it'd be great if we could get some, you know, if let's say we sign 5 players, let's say one's a youngster, or let's say 2 are youngsters. Let's say 2 are between sort of that youngster period and that prime period. Let's say one's an 18-year-old, one's a 21-year-old, a couple of 22, 24-year-olds, and one's a 27-year-old. That's the perfect sort of work there, because you get the guys who are ready to go now. You get the guys that are ready to, you know, sort of come into that. You get guys who can develop slowly along. And the idea really this time with like your Archie Grays, with like Lucas Bergvals and Yang, for example. Obviously, Yang will obviously be officially able to play in January. But a lot of those people, the idea was we're going to give them sporadic minutes to set up with. They'll develop slowly and develop with the first team. And then in the next sort of couple of years, they'll be the guys that are ready to go to take this club forward once they're sort of 2021, because they've had a couple of years' experience of being at Spurs, they've got a couple of years' experience of playing Ange ball, and they're used to them playing. Ironically, Archie Gray's just been forced into the fact that, mate, you're going to have to play and you need to be ready right now. You know, you're playing centre midfield. Yeah, great. But actually, you're not. You're going to be playing right back. You're going to be playing left back. And you're also going to be playing centre half. Now, the irony is, obviously, his development is sped up probably quite a lot. Maybe not in his natural position, but it's been sped up a lot in those positions that he learns other positions, which I think in the long run, that will benefit him immensely, because he knows what to expect from those positions. He knows he needs cut in here. I need to show for him here. There's going to be a ball going over there. You know what that position is going to do because you've played in that position. You've learnt that position. And he has that sort of probably ahead of everyone else, you know. But if I'm honest, It's a difficult one, but yeah, we do need more players that are ready to go right now. Morning Spurs, morning Sonia, Adiz, Van Gogh, Dragon. How are we all? I know who Beat Boop is. Don't worry, I know who you are. Jazz, how are we? Problem is the wage structure. Players don't want to come if wages not. Well, that's the issue. You know, when your wages are so far behind the other guys in the top six, what are you going to do? You know. So look, we'll worry about that when we get. Obviously, we're only 11 days away from the charts window being open, so comes around quickly. Morning, Dean. How are you, mate? So look, let's move on and let's talk about. I guess you could say a player who's in that sweet spot right now and a player that's coming into that sweet spot right now because, hey, all that stuff. Beat Boop isn't Donna, don't worry, but I know who Beat Boop is. Ignore him. David Hancko talking about Juventus. And this comes from Fabrizio Romano reposting the quote saying that he said, I'm not happy with the fake news that I spoke to Juventus or we've agreed on personal terms. It's not true at all. Juve might be interested, but we've never spoken. I told my teammates that it's fake. I have no idea where this is coming from. For me, I quite like that attitude of him, you know, to put it out there. I'm not going to let agents, I'm not going to anything get in the way. Hear it from the horse's mouth. I haven't spoken to him. Shut up, right? That gives me a real mentality to say I'm loyal to my teammates. A move might happen, but a move is not anywhere near happening right this second. Don't believe everything you read, right? So I totally get that. Look, we obviously need defenders in January. That's the key thing here. Obviously, the key thing in this is we need a guy who can actually just be fit. You know, obviously, I know Davies will probably be back next week. Obviously, we know Mikey's probably a couple of weeks away in theory. He might get on the bench towards the back end of next week, but, you know, obviously he's missed a bit of time here. Ben's obviously not missed as much time. But again, we don't want to have to play the risk of risking Ben when he's had, you know, these muscle injuries before. And it's obviously that there's always that risk that if you do risk them and they get injured, what are you going to do? You know, so with David Hancko, if he can come in and play right away, he's going to come in and play a lot of minutes. Now, the beautiful thing is Ange talking about Destiny. Destiny should be back for tomorrow's game. He is going to be needed for tomorrow's game. Whether you like Spence or you don't like Spence, Destiny Dorgu is still our best left back. And I don't want to hear anyone say that Spence is. Don't overreact. Live in the moment. You've got way more body of work with Destiny Dorgu than you do Jed Spence. All right. And I've seen Destiny Dorgu against Salah, and he's been very good against Salah. So look, there's that. We'll see on David Hancko. David Hancko, obviously, he's not going to come cheap. You know, he's going to be 30, 35 million. That's not cheap. Yes, he can play two different positions. Yes, he's a senior international with plenty of experience of international football. But again, it's one of those ones you bring in someone in January, you've always got to have a bit of a mindset. Say, hey, it might take a bit of time for him to get going, you know? We've nearly just survived December. Absolutely. Is he my little brother? He's smaller than me, but he's older than me. But yes, that is. Both our keepers cannot play from the back, and Ange should address this in January. We shall. Both our keepers. Who's the other one that can't play out from the back? If you mean Vicario, you are sadly mistaken. But if you mean like a youngster, then maybe. But yeah, Vicario is brilliant from playing out from the back. Absolutely brilliant. And you can see the quality difference. I'd send Breck. It's not. I've said about Werner. It's not with Werner. It's not. We have all the power in this deal. We're sending him back. Red Bull Leipzig actually hold a lot of power in this deal. They get to say if they want them back or not. We might be stuck with Werner. The only way we get out of it is by overpaying to get rid of him. You know, a good keeper is a keeper. There you go. Hey Joshua, how are you? You heard Kelleher wants to move. But Kelleher's not coming to Spurs to potentially be a number two. Can't wait for someone to go, Kelleher's actually better than Vicario, Andy. Shut up. Don't be that person. Be better. Kelleher, though, isn't guaranteed to be a starter, and Kelleher's going to want to move to a team where he is guaranteed to be a starter. He plays fairly regular minutes at Liverpool as it is. Alisson gets injured all the time. Also, Liverpool going to pay him more on wages as well. So he's not. I don't think we're going to go near a Kelleher. We're going to go someone a little bit less known, and that'll be the rotational keeper. To be honest, Spences like he will be different tomorrow. He is Davies, but 100% better. Well, Davies is also a left back into a centre back. Vicario's distribution is poor. Well, if it's poor, mate, I've not got brown hair. Vicario's distribution is good. All right. He also has, 0 mistakes leading to goals as well. Trust me, Vic is a good keeper. Vic is that goalkeeper to find a quote-unquote number one. That isn't the first thing we should be looking at in this squad. Not even remotely one of the first things. Not even in the top 5. We need to look at left back. We need to look at centre back. We need to look at in the midfield. We need to look at striker. We need to look at left wing, right wing. Yeah, Vic's not our issue. He's not our issue. And you've seen against Man United yesterday, Vic plays that. We're not conceding those 2 goals if Vic's in goal. Let's be real. And he's a good shot stopper as well, Vic. Casey Keller. Oh, my God. Casey Keller. We need injury-free players out. I've seen Alisson Edison making terrible mistakes playing out for the back. I've seen brilliant shot stopper. De Gea can see P-rollers. Every goal he makes mistakes. And De Gea playing out from the back was a guy who struggled. But he's a good shot stopper. It's what you hope for out of a keeper. First and foremost, let's not twerk about a keeper that can pass the ball with his weak foot. Let's worry about, can you save a shot or 2? Vic's very good at shot stopping. Fact. And there's no other argument he is. Now, could he be better playing out from the back? Yeah, maybe. But he's also probably better than the majority of keepers in the Premier League at playing out from the back. And on top of that, he's a better shot stopper than most of those as well. Yeah, let's move on. Look, you might not think he's great playing out for the back. Absolutely, you're more welcome to your opinion. But how many mistakes can you really count that Vic's made for playing out the back that they've scored from? Just 0. Like I said, we have way, way more pressing issues in the squad than we do before we look at Vic. All right. It's a long loss issue, yeah, absolutely. No player makes no mistakes. If the keeper makes a mistake, it's on the other lads to make up for it in front of the goal. Hey, there you go. Spence is a better defender than a Doggy and Porro. Whatever floats your boat, mate. But Desi Doggy's better than Jed Spence. And that is an absolute fact. 2 games doesn't change what Desi Doggy's done for over a season. And if we want to go there, Pedro Porro is better than both of them attacking. But also Pedro Porro has already played nearly 1,800 minutes this season. The brother could do with a week off. He is absolutely shattered. And the best thing is, with Spence to playing the way he is, now, I think Spence has the ability to be good. I'm obviously one of those people that requires a good run of games. If he had played poorly, I'd still give him the benefit of doubt. I was one of those with Vicario after the first game of last season where he didn't look great against Brentford. And then obviously against Man United, he keeps a clean sheet and looks absolutely phenomenal. And then has other really great games in that first 10-game run, which, by the way, then obviously we then lose all of our centre-backs we could possibly hope for. The beautiful thing is just give these guys a minute to breathe. Let them make some mistakes. And then after, if it's 3 months in and they're still making the same mistakes, then you go, okay, maybe they're not good enough. With Jed, I like what I've seen so far, but it's 2 games. Yeah. I'm not counting his cameo against Coventry. Let's be real. 2 games so far. Let's have another 3 or 4 games and let's see where we're at from there. With Destiny or Doggy, I know what I've got there. He's going to be an absolute mega star, in my opinion. I think he's brilliant. So Spence is great. And the best thing, like I said, the beautiful thing is if Spence continues the way he does, Porro and Destiny should start to get more rotation. And if they get more rotation, they are better players for that. And that's the beauty of it. Okay. But obviously, we're 2 games in. Let's see where we're at. Maybe halfway through January. A few more weeks. Let's see where we're at. Because he's going to be needed, Spence. Ange will insist on playing from the back. Yeah, he does. Does a thumbs up. I agree. And Vic's fine with it. We definitely need Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi... There's another thumbs up. You're welcome. I think Zubimendi winds up at Liverpool. Anana is brilliant with his feet, but he can make horrible mistakes. The perfect keeper doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. No. I mean, the best keeper in the world, in my opinion, is probably Alisson. The fact that he can play out from the back. I think as a shot stopper, I think there's better keepers, like a Courtois, for example. But Courtois is not nearly the player Alisson is from playing out the back. I mean, Ederson could play centre midfield for some teams, as you know, from playing out the back's incredible. As a shot stopper, not great. Whereas we got a guy in a goal who's a better shot stopper, in my opinion, than an Ederson. Yeah, he doesn't play out from the back like Ederson, but nobody does. Ederson is in a league of his own. But Alisson, in my opinion, is the best keeper in the world. And I have thought that for a very long time. But what I would say is, how many keepers can do what Alisson does? None. None of them can. Emi Martinez, fantastic shot stopper. That save that he made, Emi Martinez, I can't remember, was it last game, the game before? Where he's having to like get down and behind him to basically claw this ball off the line. It's an unbelievable save. And I actually wanted Emi Martinez a little while ago at Spurs, but obviously it didn't go that way. But as from playing out from the back, not as good, you know. But again, Villa want him just to be able to stop balls going in the net, and he's a great keeper for that. Anyway, moving on keeper. I don't want to talk about keepers. We're moving on. Come on. Let's be better than this. We've got some better things to talk about, more relevant things to talk about. Why do people feel the need to slag off one of our players to praise the other? Yeah, you can. Yeah, I never understand it. On Twitter, it's really bad. You get our own fans who slag off our own players to make some of our other players look better. You could just compliment the player you want to compliment without dragging another player. And, no, we haven't done it here, which is beautiful, but it's on Twitter that's even worse. People go, look how good Romero is. Oh, Dragić's crap. And it's like, why is Dragić catching a stray here? You can just say Romero is a really great defender. Full stop, move on. But, you have to say something to basically antagonize interaction. That's how you get any type of fame on Twitter or any type of money from Twitter. That's why, my follower account doesn't really grow, because I don't speak crap. I just don't. I respect all of our players. I may not rate all of our players, but I'll back them. I don't rate Sergio Reguilon, but I'll still back him if he has to play. I hope he doesn't, because then it means we're down so many players. But if he plays, he plays. I'll back him. He's gone in January, though, I can tell you that. Same with Højbjerg. I backed Højbjerg. I said he's a good player. He doesn't suit Ange ball, and that's still, I completely agree with that. But he's a decent player, and in Ligue 1, he looks quite good. Fine, We should support our players more. We're a weird old fan base, aren't we? Agree with Andy. Alisson's the best keeper in the world for me. Yeah, agree. Cardoso is good for 6 spot. A bit early to judge, though. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I liked what I've seen with Cardoso so far. I do like what I've seen from Cardoso so far. Obviously, look, we're not signing him towards the summer, so we don't really have to worry about, do we like him in the 21st of December? Let's worry about him the 21st of May. Let's then look at all the sort of information that we have. Really work out, do we want him or not? Because if we don't want him, we still have a sell-on within the ownership of the player. So, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alisson, that I knew, was a real keeper. I mean, they're all real keepers. They all put gloves on. They all stand in front of a goal. They're all real keepers. Anyway, we're moving on, because I want to talk about Patrick Dorgu, because fascinating stuff. Now, Patrick Dorgu. Let's have a quick little recap. So if you're not sure, by the way, and yes, by the way, Heung-Min has arrived at Hotspur Way and started a bit of gym work, I think, so far. I've seen some pictures of gym work. So there you go, if you wanted to know. But let's talk about Patrick Dorgu. So left back from Lecce, a guy that we've wanted really for quite a while. And, I talk about him quite often on this channel about, hey, we need left back. Patrick Dorgu is quite similar to Desi Udogie in his style of play. So in terms of a rotational option, you don't have to change your whole team to fit him in. Really good attacking fullback. Does no issues in terms of flying in for a tackle or two. So knowing that, Patrick Dorgu, so it's come out from, it's not the greatest of sources, but Give Me Sport of saying that Manchester United are exploring a move for Patrick Dorgu. Lecce want about 30 million, right? I don't think that's, he's wanted by most of the big boy clubs. Like Chelsea have wanted him. We've wanted him. Obviously now Man United. I think Juventus have wanted him. So many. The key thing to this is, Fabrizio Romano said multiple times since the end of the last window and this window that, hey, Chelsea still want him and Spurs still want him. They're both still looking at him. He signed a new deal in, was it mid-October, I think it was, till the summer of 2029. The thing I think you could sell Dorgu on more than you could sell him on a move to Chelsea. Now, I think he's a Chelsea boy. He likes Chelsea. But the one thing you could sell him on is the fact that, by the way, you're going to play more regular minutes at Spurs than you would at Chelsea. You're not going to get the wages that you'd want because obviously Chelsea pay actual good wages. And we will go, all right, here's your wage increase. There's a £5. Don't say I don't treat you. But he would get more regular minutes at Spurs. Now, at Man United, obviously, Luke Shaw is never fit. Malacia has been out for about a year and a half. Sergio Reguilon was their left back for 6 months last season. You could see him getting regular minutes at Manchester United, Lecce playing today there you go. Lecce playing today. Who did Lecce play today? Let's have a look. Lecce versus... Is it Lazio? Lazio. There you go. They play Lazio at 7:45 this evening. There you go. We desperately need Reinders. We're not getting Reinders. I like him, but we're not getting him. He doesn't want to leave Milan. I think he's trying to sign a new deal as well. Dorgu doesn't even play left back anymore. I've seen him play at 10 sometimes. Hey, does Desi Dorgu get locked down to left back? As our fullbacks are sometimes the furthest forwards, Yeah, have a look at Dorgu if you haven't. Now, I've got some really fascinating stats on Dorgu. So, of the top 5 leagues with the under 21s, by the top 5 leagues, I think that's Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, and Liga. He is actually the second highest. He's got the second highest percentage of successful dribbles. So, first is Kenan Yildiz from Juventus. Patrick Dorgu's number 2. At 63.8%. So he's only 0.1% behind. Third is Gittins from Dortmund at 61.8. Garnacho's at 4th with 58.6. And then Diego Moreira is at 58.5 for Strasbourg. Yamal's 6th. Dibbling from Southampton's 9th. But yeah, Dorgu at basically 64% as a guy who plays left back and a little bit further forward is mental. Absolutely mental. He's a guy that I've wanted for a really, really long time, and I'm still on that hype train. Not going to cost crazy money when you think about it nowadays. Somewhere between 25 and 30 million. Maybe a touch more than that. I'll call it 30 million. I'll just call it 30 million to be on the safe side. Might be a few quid either side. It's not crazy nowadays. If you were to get him and a centre-half in January, I don't see Spurs having any financial fair play concerns. Hell, you stretch it out over 5 years anyway, so it's not like it's going to be brutal, is it? Let's say if you had to spend 30 million on each, 60 million, you spend it over 5 years, it's 12 million a year. You know what I mean? So it's doable. It's definitely doable. Robertson from Fulham is a really, really good player. Really, really good player. Look, if we didn't get a Dorgu, we got a Robinson, brilliant, but I don't see us getting a Robinson personally. We need to get Dorgu. It could happen. Let's do a poll. This is the way to do it. There we go. Let's do a poll. Dorgu and Jan. You let me know. whilst I read some other comments. Spurs don't like to compete with top clubs, so Dorgu is more likely to go to Manchester United and Chelsea because of wage and pay structure. Yeah, wouldn't shock me. Able to play a few positions, ideal for Ange squad. Yeah, need a left back signing desperately. We do need left back signing desperately, and Dorgu is the guy that I truly want. Obviously, I know we were linked with Bradley Locko for a little while, but obviously had a big injury. I don't actually know when he is back, if I'm honest. I don't know when he's back. Probably a little while because he's probably a little while yet. But I mean, like just looking at his stats for the year and looking at what he does. Now, Lecce obviously are a team that aren't one of the big boys in Italy. We all know that. He looks so talented. And he's 20, 21 years old. Right, hang on. How old is Patrick Dorgu? Let me just double check. Patrick Dorgu. 20 years old. There you go. He's not long turned 20. He was about 2 months ago he turned 20. So he's such a young player. And yes, maybe he's not what we would talk about the first topic of ready to go players. But with Patrick, I want to just double check how many seasons he has played in top flight football. It's the thing that I always harp on about. He is a year and a half in. Am I being right there? It's a year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half into playing for Lecce. He's got 3 goals this season in Serie A. That's not bad. So look at 23, 24. Yeah, so they were in the Serie A last season. I just wanted to double check. So Lecce were. He played 1,500 minutes last season for him. So yeah, he's played a season and a half of top flight football in the Serie A. It's kind of similar to, I think, Dragicin's timeline at the moment, only being a year and a half in. So, you know, he would need time to settle, but player, definitely a player. I don't think we need to sell Bentancur, bro. Slightly drops masterclass for. Hasn't for a little while, but I do like him. Man United don't have the funds for Dorgu. Well, the only way I think Man United will have funds for Dorgu is if they sell Marcus Rashford. Because even though they have financial fair play concerns, if you sell a Marcus Rashford for £50 million, he is a homegrown academy trained player. That's 50 million, 100% pure profit on your. I don't know what you would call it, but basically, yeah, it counts there and then for that season. So you would have a lot more wiggle room to spend that season to bring in players that you want. You know, not to say that they would, but that's obviously a big thing. But obviously, you can get creative. You can be like, look, loan with an obligation to buy. We'll buy them in the summer because in the summer we got way more room to be creative. It's a new financial year for us. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's linked with Fagioli. Isn't he good? He got done for betting, didn't he? I know that. He can't be any good at betting if he gets done for it. Yeah, sure. We need to move quickly. Green Matt. Are we looking at homegrown player for the squad for next year at all? I think you've always got an eye on homegrown. You always will because there's obviously squad requirements for this sort of thing. But who that would be, I don't think we'd have anything right now on the tip of our tongues. Let's have a think. It won't be a goalkeeper, I don't think, unless someone from the Championship, like a Trafford, maybe. You could say, let's say Spencer would be the right back and you get a left back. Vuskovic comes in next season. Which, by the way, Vuskovic, that's a player. That's going to be a player. My God. I reposted some stats from his last game on Twitter. Go and check me on Twitter to see them. Player and a half. My God. Obviously, Archie Gray's there. Phillips, you'd have to see what happens with Phillips. I'd probably see. I could see maybe an attacker and maybe a midfielder. But we don't have homegrown issues. We have academy trained issues at the moment. That's what we truly have. Because if you move off a Regulon, that frees up a non-homegrown player in your squad. So you could absolutely sign a Dorgu, right? Just for example, because it won't impact anything. Who will buy Rashford? A fool will. What left back do you think we should go for? Patrick Dorgu is the guy I want. Hug the love bear. He's the guy I want. The tightest armor going on. I want to be number one. Incredible. How good was Solanke against United? Bull. Is all I'm going to say about that. Dibbling or Delap in the summer. Both would be crazy money. Yeah, if we think about Brennan was what, 47 and a half? Those boys are going to cost more than that, 100%. Even with Southampton, if they were to go down, which I'm not saying they will or won't, all right? Just saying if they would, it'd still cost a lot. Hancko or Dorgu? Oh, Dorgu. I'm going to go Dorgu, just because I've been on this hype train for so long. Who's more usable? That's another question, but we're not going to go there. With experience, yeah, we do. What if we bring in Zalewski and he suddenly plays like he plays for the Polish side? I don't think we've been linked to him, have we? Who's unproven? Who's unproven, Jazz? What position do you think Ange will want for his experience? Good question. Very good question, actually. Let me end this poll. Sorry. We all want Dorgu. Good to see. Glad that I've got at least a few people that agree with me from time to time. What position do you think Ange will want for his experience? Centre back. I think centre back. I think those key spines positions he'd want. I think, look, if we were to sign only 2 players come January, because like I said, January is such a horrific month to try and do like good business, right? If I was to say, look, we're going to sign 2 players in January, and let's say if I had to say what positions I feel like we should look at, you'd look at the sort of left back, left centre back hybrid potentially, if you want to get obviously a natural position and an attacker. That's the 2 that I would want. Obviously, Yang comes in, but you could say Yang is like an Odebear sort of style replacement where give him time. That's the kind of vibe. A right winger, a striker, one of those 2. I think right winger or striker is maybe where I would be if I was a forward in terms of what I would want. And in terms of experience, you would say striker. I think Ange would want experience in both positions, if I'm honest. I think Ange has looked a little bit at what we did in the summer and gone, Bergvall, really exciting talent. Archgate, really exciting talent. Solanke's the ready-to-go guy now. We need more ready-to-go guys now because Odebear, young talent, right? So I think ready-to-go guy and striker now, and maybe that is a Jonathan David, for example. I'm not saying it would be. Maybe it is Jonathan David. I don't think you'd be able to get him in January. I've already laid out my multiple reasons why I don't think you'll sign him in January. But if you were to sign him in January as a hypothetical, that would make a lot of sense. And then I think a hybrid of left centre back, left back, like a David Hancko would make a lot of sense. I'm not saying it would be him, but a lot of sense, right? But I think that's kind of where we would be. I can see CDM, Harper. I could see CDM, yeah. But I think they'll hold off on CDM until the summer for Cardoso. Back our team. That's our manager of the team. Put the pressure on the... Yeah, absolutely, Janice. Left centre back, and a left wing. Okay, left centre back and a goalkeeper for me. Ooh. I don't think. I think if, like I said, if there's only 2 positions, Vic's back in February. I think it'll be an attacker and a defender. If I had to say 2 positions, obviously, if they could get a keeper as well, fine, great, fantastic. But those would be my main 2 positions. I think they're so impactful now, if you know what I mean. Whereas Vic's going to. We have Vic already. He will be back. But the way we have attackers getting injured and defenders getting injured, ironically, midfield is like the one area where we don't seem to get a ton of injuries. We're missing Bentancur, but actually Bentancur's last game out is tomorrow. Bissouma's had a suspension, but he's back. You still got Bergvall. Gray's playing in defence, but, is a midfielder. Madison, Kulu, Pape, we seem to actually be all right in terms of health from our midfield. It's the attack and defence where we have our biggest issues. So that's my thinking. You can see why the method to my madness. Keep a line in attack. Odebear will fit right in when he's back. Yeah, I can't wait. Porro makes a great backup. Let's 2 games, Stephen. Let's just let's be patient. I love Cunha, Callum. I love Cunha. I think he's. I couldn't give you a player who I think is his player comparison, because I just think he's so unique. But like I say about Lille and Jonathan David, Wolves aren't selling Cunha unless it's like ridiculous money. It's like Brighton and Ferguson. Ferguson's not played really for such a long time, but Brighton will not sell him for like 25 million. He's still going to Brighton will still want 100 odd million because he's so young. What about Victor Gyökeres? As much as I like Victor Gyökeres, I think he's a very good player. Spurs won't be going near him. Hancko, a goalkeeper or an attacker. Hancko won't join in Jan, though. We'll probably wait for summer. Yeah, potentially so. I mean, this is the thing. It depends really. With obviously they're in the Champions League final, and they're in the second batch. So top 8 are like you're all the way through. 25th and below, you're out. Which, by the way, Leipzig, PSG, they're both in that bottom batch of teams. Man City are nearly in that bottom batch of teams. My God. Celtic are above Man City in the Champions League. Get in there, Celtic. Well done, lads. Club Brugge, Feyenoord, Benfica, Monaco, Sporting. All these teams are above Man City. Well done, everyone. Well done. But they are in that second batch. They are 3 points clear of the teams below them. And the teams below them, like I said, I mean, Leipzig are on 0 after 6 games. I do not know what's gone on with Leipzig in the Champions League. That is ridiculous. But Stuttgart are in there. Stuttgart are a decent team from last season. Obviously not as great this season. Girona are down there. Brian Hill, masterclass incoming for the next 2 games. But, there's a teams down there that are going to be scrapping and praying that, your Zagreb or your PSVs are going to just flat out fall apart and then they can sneak in. You would have to say Feyenoord are probably safe in that next batch of games, which obviously they'll be the qualifiers for the round after. So, yeah, Hancko should be potentially a guy going, I'm in the Champions League. I'm happy where I am. We'll chat in the summer. But obviously, he could, if we did get him, he could play in the Europa because he won't be cup tied. So there's that. News is that Gyökeres price is coming down to around 58 million. Yeah, I mean, that screams Man United for the summer, mate. Screams Man United for the summer. What about that player from Atalanta? Lequette something. Lequette. Been good at Southampton, been good at Atalanta, wasn't very good at Milan. Not really the player I think we need. Decent, but yeah. Forster should stop getting tips off Timo on ball control and training. Turbo Timo, how can I help? Bisek. Talent. Great on FIFA or EAFC, but talent. That's it, Polly. Yeah, look, really good stuff today. Obviously, Hancko, Dorgu, a change in transfer mentality, which I think we've all been craving, and I hope we get more to come from the transfer stuff. Obviously, to give you a heads up, we will do our last-minute thoughts tomorrow ahead of the Liverpool game. I might be slightly hungover, but, shoot me. I'm enjoying to have a pint or two today. But yeah, we'll do our last minute preview for Liverpool tomorrow. Gyökeres not going to United next time. I heard it here first. Ooh. Chelsea? Chelsea makes a lot of sense. The problem is I just don't see how teams are... PSG. Doesn't PSG just make a ton of sense for Gyökeres? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. They got the money. They could do with a striker. That's all I'm saying. Kessler, I love as a player, not the player profile we need, though. Gyökeres to Barca. Gyökeres is going to Woolwich. If it's price sheet. Well, there you go. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for joining me this morning into the afternoon. Go and enjoy the rest of your days. Enjoy the rest of whatever it is you're up to today. Enjoy the football that's on. I'll speak to you all very soon tomorrow to talk a little bit about Spurs Liverpool. Take care, everyone. Peace.